All right, all right. You know what that sound means? That sound means we are ready to rock and roll. It's another great edition of uh the betting countdown here. There, I will have my guest, Rob Shepley will be coming on. Witty college football. We'll talk some college football. We'll talk some different things as well. Just bear with me for 1 second. Obviously, you can see I've only got one arm today, so I'm not going to be writing a lot. Let me know in your comments kind of what we're thinking, what we're going for. I'm going to try to do this best as I can here with one hand. Still waiting on the news. At this time, we should have had the news. I've been playing around with this. Is Stewie's going to go? It looks like she will go tonight as expected. So kind of waiting for clarification on that. If anybody's got clarification on that, please let me know. Other than that, and away we go. We should have a good show for you tonight. We've got some baseball to go through. There's no ticker tonight because, again, I only have one hand. So let's start first with baseball because that's the stuff that's going to be kicking off right now. I'm on the Yankees. I took the Yankees and the Lynx in a money line parlay. So I like the Yankees tonight. I think it's going to be a pretty good matchup with them basically coming back. Still trying to fight. So we're taking the Yankees and the Lynx. Got that at plus 120. So we're going to ride that there. The later game we got is Texas, Houston, Miami, Colorado, and then Philly and the Dodgers a little bit later today as they go for it's there. But the big matchup of the day is going to be the WNBA game. We've got Phoenix and the Liberty try to hold this off, see if they can basically clinch here to a matchup here with the Lynx early. I know it's not something they probably looked forward to, but it is something that looks like they're in a head-on collision. Then the Aces, surprisingly, last night loses. Basically kind of sets up this game against the Storm tomorrow night. We'll talk about that as well. There's a lot of things to kind of go over as well, but I'll take a breeze right now in the chat. Let me know what you guys are on, what you guys are thinking. There, let's see how we're going here. Oh, what channel is that game on? Oh, the game will be on ESPN. Yankees, and we get to ESPN, so that's nice. Excuse me 1 second as I try to bear with me as I go through this. I've got to send the link to our other two guys who will be joining us tonight. Bear with me just 1 second as I practice how to use my left hand. Oh. Had to land into a little bit of technical difficulty. Need to kind of switch over from one computer to the next. So that's why the show was on a little late. Because so I didn't get the links out. Yes, tonight. All right, let's see what we got. So first of all, we're still waiting on 100% clarification. DJ Hardy likes the Yankees over 9. Yeah, I kind of like that as well. My only issue, would you be better off just taking the team total here? Hodge Bradley on the bump here for the Yankees. You figure most of the runs are going to come from the Yankees. What is the Yankees team total here? Bradley's an up and down pitcher. He has electric stuff sometimes, but sometimes can't find the plate. For that reason, we kind of kind of think if their Yankees are going to score here, it's going to their Judge starts off the game with the double with 2 outs. We'll see what's going on. Can we get the Yankees? Probably wait till after the inning is up here to see if there's anything we can get on the Yankees. I know a lot of people like the over 9. I kind of lean towards the over 9. I just question how many runs you're going to get from the Minnesota side of things. So if I'm going to sit there and take it over 9, why don't I just take from the team that I believe all the runs are primarily going to come from? The Yankees are 4.5. Let's see if we can get out of this inning and maybe get a number at 3.5, and I'd probably be on the Yankees. All right, so we're trying to get confirmation here. Let me scour the web. Looks like Stewie will go. She will play. All right, so knowing that Stewie's in, let's talk about this game. What's up, Gerardo? I got the New York money line already. I got them already said with the Minnesota money line. So I do like the Yankees money line right now. It's at minus 154. I will never give out a minus 140 or higher, but I will give out a little 2-team money line parlay. I really like the links tonight. You can get them at minus 600. You throw that in with the Yankees. You get the number basically into where it's playable. So I got it at plus 120, but the line's kind of moved on the Yankees for most of the day. So that's kind of made go up. I know some people are on the run line. You get that at plus 102 at minus 1.5. That may be something to kind of sprinkle on if you hadn't got a chance there. I do like the Yankees pretty big in this game. Like I said, Taj Bradley can be fantastic. He can strike a lot of people out, but he does have some trouble basically sometimes finding the strike zone. All right, so we also basically Liberty Phoenix must-win game for Phoenix. This is kind of interesting. So the Liberty took care of game 1. They basically, because of how bad they've played the last month, they get to play game 2 here at home. Very interesting game. I like an SQ on a couple different things here. I like an SQ at 5.5 assists. You can get that at minus 122. Again, I'm not going to be putting stuff in the banner tonight. I only got one hand to type. It takes a while for me to type all these names. If someone wants to put it in the chat to help me out, that'd be great. An SQ, I got a 5.5 assists. I got that at minus 122. Natasha Cloud, she scored 20 points in game 1. She seems to have the nice matchup with McConney. 10.5 points is not too much hard from her off her season averages. You can get that at minus 110. So I like Natasha Cloud at minus 110. And I love Jonquel Jones at 8.5 rebounds. She had 13 in game 1. She's probably going to have a pretty good chance here to have that. Gerardo's coming in with some MLS plays. He's going with NYFC at minus 111. That's not a bad look. Champions League was a lot of chalk today. So if you're a fan of chalk, you basically got a chance to be able to really cash out a lot today. They're playing the Columbus Crew. That's the only question I have with them going on a minus 111. Columbus Crew is a very good team. They're actually a better team than NYFC. Gaztek is still in the lineup for them. So starts up top, a little bit different. Obviously, he comes over from his days. He hasn't been as prolific as he was when he was with the Philadelphia Union, but still a pretty good scorer with them. They don't have, obviously, some of the guys they've had in years past, but still a very good squad here. I could probably see a 1-1 game, but best of luck, Gerardo. I mean, you can tell that if you want. I don't have any issue with that. Then you look on the other side, from Phoenix's side. It's a little interesting. Like Alyssa Thomas didn't have a great game, but I do think she kind of gets her rebounds, assists tonight. If you want to be able to take that together, let me see what the live line is because I took that earlier and I'm not really sure. I kind of like the Liberty tonight. I think they take care of it at home. I think they do end this series. I think it's a big chance for them. They don't want to go back to Phoenix in a 1-1 game. Jonquel Jones, I think, kind of shows up tonight. Didn't really show up on the offensive end at all in game one with only 7 points. She generally shoots better at home, especially from three. Probably hits 2 threes tonight. You can get that at plus 126. I do like that number. I think Copper's going to get her points, and I like her at around 15, 16 points, but I've got to play 17 on her, and I'm not ready to play 17 on her. I just don't think consistently versus this banner of teams should be able to get that. I like to want a Bonner to get 10 points. You can get that at minus 128. That's a pretty good number for that. I bet that a lot throughout the year. She had 12 points in the game one. Very good chance she comes out and is able to get 10 points at least tonight. Sabali's not anybody I could play. She's kind of up and down. So Alyssa Thomas, we were looking at rebounds, assists. They set it up at 18.5. Boy, that went up. All right, 17.5 this morning. We went up a whole extra one for there. She had 8 and 9 the very first game. She probably gets 16.5. I'm not sure I would bet the 17.5. I think that number's kind of high. But we'll see. We'll sit there. We'll look for some live spots to get on in this game. We've got 2 other Major League Baseball action going off later. Red Sox are up 2-1. I know Ramon gave out the over on that. So if you're on that, that looks pretty good. Rays and Blue Jays, I like the over in this game as well. We're at 7.5. Royals off to a nice start versus the Rangers, 3-0. Yankees do score, so it's 1-0 Yankees. Runner on third. So not going to get that cushiony little 3.5 there. So that's out the door. We'll have to look to see what else kind of pops up at different times. Run lines up to 6. And we'll see if the Twins can contribute to it all. Brewers and the Angels here. Brewers been on a wagon, but obviously except for home field advantage throughout the playoffs, not a lot of things for the Brewers to play for. So you do always got to kind of question that as this goes on. So, yep. A little cool cheap parlay. I played the game one. It came out pretty well for me in the WNBA. Was Stewie and Copper, 15 points. Question with Stewie hurting her knee, but she looks fine right here in warm-ups. She's probably going to definitely still get after it. You can get Copper and Stewie same game parlay at plus 155. Want a tail on that. Actually, I'm going to give that as a play. I'll take that again. She looks fine. I'm watching her warm up. Yeah, she just has the size. Liberty, I think, are going to be a team that really kind of get the play. It just sucks that they got to play the Lynx next. We will see how that works on. Oh, I've got it to say the Morningstein. That's probably. Yep. Sorry. I left the banner on, but there didn't have my normal banner on. So late game, Minnesota, Golden State. Excuse me 1 second. I'm going to take a pill. We will go live as far as we can go. As far as I can stay in it. There, like I said, Whitty College Football will be joining us later. We'll break down the NCAA card. We'll cover some of the NFL as well. Kind of get your guys' thoughts on that. We got nice game tomorrow in college football. Rice and Charlotte should be a pretty good game. I like Rice in that game. We'll go through that in a little bit more detail a little later. We've got the Bills and the Dolphins. That game should be an absolute slaughter. Should be over by halftime. Miami can score some points, but it's a question of whether, I don't know, that team's getting ready to implode. I think they fire Mike McDonald. If we had that market in the States, I don't know any book that had it as first coach fired. McDonald's going to be the first coach fired. He'll probably get fired right after this game, right after the Bills win by double digits. Probably gets let go. It is a division game there, so I mean, not sure I'd take 12 in a division game. That's just too many points for me. But yeah, I definitely think they lose by double digits. It's probably a good teaser leg. Nothing wrong with starting a teaser on a Thursday night to go with your Sunday night action. So, and some of the best teasers I like are all across different nights. So, love the Monday night teaser on the over with the Ravens. Obviously, coming off an absolute demolishing of Cleveland. They've played golf before. The issue in that game is they really stopped the run, and then golf had they just blitz. They blitz all down on Jared Goff and kind of force him to make enough throws to push the ball down the field. And the last time that game happened, that didn't happen. Goff was statue. It's similar to what the Packers did. They got after Goff, forced Goff basically to come through the run, stop the run. Then Detroit wasn't much to write home about. So. This is the problem when you're lock all your computer screens with your thumb, and it's your thumb on your right hand that's not being used right now. So, other than that, I mean, this game should start. Put the golf. We'll see the Yankees still going through. Did they score again? Going on live in that game. Yankees only get the one run. Twins are up. They do get a runner on here. Start the bottom of the first. So Royals are still up 3. Rays are still up 1. Padres up 2-1 on the Mets. And same score in the Red Sox, 2-1. Guardians continue to show that they will not go into the night. They will not die without a fight. They basically continue to win games late in the season here. Just a little bit of a comeback. Kids won't die yet. So, oh. So the one thing why we got a little bit of a break, whatever, I was going to look at, and I going to take a look at that, is conference winners. And one of the conference winners that was very interesting. So if you look at the ACC, and we'll talk ACC football here. The 3 main conference winners are Florida at 155, Florida State at 550, and Georgia Tech at plus 370. Because it increasingly looks like whoever wins the Miami-Florida State game has a pretty good chance to represent that side of the bracket in the ACC championship. The team, though, is that second team. Is Georgia Tech or Florida, or Georgia Tech versus Miami, or Georgia Tech versus Florida State in the finals? Is that going to be more than plus 300? And I don't think so. So I think there's a great opportunity right now if you want to basically arbitrage some money here. Georgia Tech is for the rest of their basically schedule. It's pretty easily. They don't play Florida State. They don't play Miami. Not even sure they play Louisville. Looking at their schedule. So for them to kind of cakewalk into the ACC championship game here, to throw out a plus 370, that you're not going to get a plus 370 at the game. They're going to play Wake, Virginia Tech, Duke, Syracuse, NC State, BC, and Pittsburgh. They also do play Georgia, but that's obviously a non-conference game, won't matter. So Georgia Tech's got a pretty easy ride here to run in themselves into the ACC championship game. Especially if they continue to play like they have been, and they play good defense. They run the ball. They should be able to beat all those other ACC teams on the record. Duke's the only question I kind of have because you wonder in a couple of weeks if Manny Diaz has that defense ready to go. Right now, he doesn't. And Mensa's obviously a couple more weeks under the system. Kind of what he looks like. That would be the only team I could see kind of beating them. Pittsburgh's not, BC's not, NC State's not. Virginia Tech is a shambles. They fired their coach. It's just a question of who they hire next. Wake Forest 100% is not beating them. So you can go ahead and lay down plus 370 just to get a better number than what you're going to get on the eventual ACC championship. Whether that's Miami or whether that's Florida State or could it be a Louisville team? But yeah, you're going to get a pretty nice price right there, plus 370. Just kind of forward looking thinking when you start to look at some of these conference races and kind of looking at some of these teams got out the easy records, but they don't play anybody. Yep. Gonna wait on that line. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Trap God waiting for there. I mean, it was 2. It went up to 4.5 when she participated in shoot around. Normally, if a player participates in shoot around, she's going to play. So not shocked that she's playing here in this game. At 18 points the first game. Pretty good chance. We've got the little 15-15 buzzer with her and Copper here because you got to think Copper's going to try to get assertive here and try to get on the scoreboard. And again, the Liberty had the one thing that no one else has, a big player that could actually play, and that's Jonquel Jones. Jones did not have a very good day in Phoenix. She'll probably have a much better day here at home in New York. She's still going to rebound the basketball, and there's nothing they can do. They don't have a player anywhere near her size that's going to give her any issue in rebounding the basketball. So takes away the offensive glass. It's kind of one way that Phoenix likes to score here. It'll be interesting to see. Ionescu actually had a decent shooting night. She had 3 threes in the first game. If you've been watching Ionescu at all for the last month, she's been terrible, especially outside shooting. Sabrina has not really been a very good outside shooter, missing tons of shots. Got to take her under 2.5 threes. It was kind of a wagon for a while. Obviously, you didn't expect Natasha Cloud to have 20 points, which she had in game 1. But I don't think she gets 20 tonight, but at 13 to 15 is probably likely. Yeah. Yeah. She's been an absolute beast since she came back from the assist perspective. Like I said, I was surprised she shot as many. And there's one Jones's 3. We said she was going to shoot better at home. There's 1 3. Need one more 3 to cash the plus 125. Yeah, I like an SK here getting the assist. Should be able to have that. It'll be also interesting to see if Stewie kind of there's Copper goes right at it. She scores right away. So that's real quick. My third line. Oh, so Phoenix starts hot, 5-3 right now. Still not going to get a Liberty line yet, unless you want to take like a -2.5. Nescu starts off finding the pain here. All right, so Jones has got 3, and Nescu's got 2. Copper has all the points we talked about. She was definitely going to be more assertive. Ionescu throws some shit up there, but Jones gets an easy offensive rebound because there's nobody that's her size. Copper again. Oh, Natasha Mack. I love Natasha Mack. She really gives out everything she's got. She's gives out so much energy on the glass. Ionescu with the block. Jones tries the outlet, hits AT right in the hands, and then Jones just lets her shoot. Let's go, girls. Come on, play some defense. 5-5. Anybody's game here. We're looking at what we got live. Ionescu gets pushed in the back. Hopefully, these refs are a lot better than the Fever refs, who basically just handed the game to Indiana last night. You could see the fix was in 5 minutes into that game. Absolutely nothing was being called at all on the Dreams drives. Could not get to the free throw line for an and one at all. And it was so overbased. It almost looked like the league was worried that, hey, all these games are going to go 2-0. And this is obviously before the Aces game. So they said, one game has to play, so we have revenue on Thursday night. So Ionescu gets fouled and on the three, and she misses the first two. The second one wasn't even close. She bricked it in front rim. She's normally a tremendous free throw shooter, and she missed them all. They all bounce out. So she gets fouled on the three, misses all three. Mariners add another run. It's 2-3. Yankees and Twins still at 1-0. Yankees do not add anything on the second. Oh. What I would do Alyssa Thomas too. And Ionescu makes a layup. Boy, it almost looked like she's gonna miss that too. Ball's bouncing around. Jonquel Jones. And when you look and you see why is the Liberty is the Liberty because of Jonquel Jones. Off the ball. It's no other team has a Jonquel Jones. Minnesota grabbed some extra players to try to match up, but even they have a trouble match up. If the Liberty play their game, they should re-win this championship. They'll give the Lynx everything they have. All right. Sorry, I was setting up some baseball so I can follow the scores without checking my phone. Oh. Jonquel's got 3 rebounds. Let's go. Get this 8.5 pretty early. That was my premium winnable play for the day. Premium has done really well in winnable, by the way. We were 8 units last week up. So another basket here for Jones. She's got 2 threes. Cash the 2 threes. We'll take that. All right, ring the bell, ring the bell, ring the bell. Jones over 1.5 threes plus 124. Cashes. Still a nice close game, 10-7. Phoenix is not going to go away in this game, but we said Jones was going to play better at home. She's definitely playing better at home. Just don't want Liberty to just fall in love with the 3 here. Yeah, I was expecting Ionescu's assist to go up to 6.5, and it didn't. When it didn't, I went right after that. So, let's see what we got. Oh, they're putting Jones at 3.5 threes. She's done. I don't think she's hitting 3.5 threes. Sabally gets to the line. Probably make both of these. Jones minus 290 for 10 rebounds now. 3 off. Tasha Cloud has not attempted a shot. Stewie's got the 2 assists right now. Stewie comes out of the game early. I wonder how many minutes she's going to play tonight. Especially as long as they're up. I don't think they're going to risk it. They have nobody who can match up Jonquel. Jonquel versus Westfield. Okay. Just add 2. She just hasn't really gone on any kind of a scoring night all year. That's the one question. It's like, well, why aren't you on her points? Because she really hasn't been given this effort at all the entire season. Jones sits in illegal defense. Of course, not called. Drive again against Jones is not the best. There you go. Natasha Cloud drills the 3. There we go. We only need 10.5. Take 3. She does that every quarter. That's all we need. Liberty up 6. What kind of nephew going after the boards? She's slow cap. She cash her boards there. She generally gets it 4 or 5 as her rebounding prop. Big games, she tends to hit that. All right, that's one thing delivery just have to do. I mean, I understand a big man wants to defend, but when your advantage so much is having the big man on the floor, to me, sometimes just give up the layup. Make her make a difficult shot. There's just no reason to foul. The only thing you do is hurt your team. All right, Yankees Twins do get on the scoreboard, tie it up 1-1. Got a runner on third, threatening here. Got so much on this Lynx game later. All right, we got 1-0 Guardians still hanging over Detroit. Detroit's really falling in a funk here. Just can't. We got second and third here. Luis Heel having an issue. It's also my fantasy pitcher here, so not really happy to hear that Luis Heel's having an issue already. As we enter the fantasy championships round that I made again. So we shall see. Football's not off to a great start. I'm 0-2. If Ain't Foreign is Born, what is this? A college football gambling show? It's actually an all sports show. I do have a guest coming with me probably around 9 o'clock who does a college football thing called Witty College Football. I highly recommend you give it a watch on YouTube. We'll break down the whole college football slate starting at 9 p.m., which should be a halftime of the WNBA game. So right now we're looking at live bets, trying to see what action we could try to get in on. So right now, based on for our pre-flops, we're kind of just waiting, kind of get a feel for the games that we can see. But yeah, we will definitely talk about college football, and yeah, we'll talk about it from a gambling perspective. We'll also talk it just from a win-loss or general information perspective as well. But yeah, but we'll break down all the games of the weekend. So. And if we're time, we'll go into the NFL. But let's see. I'm not sure how much I can handle. Oh. So that starts around 9 o'clock. Right now, the beginning of the show is just kind of go through, kind of look for some live bets, some pre-flop bets that people have. Breakdown. I mean, not loving that Stewie's already got ice on her knee. That's not a great start. Got one knee completely in a wrap, the other knee ice on it. So I mean, Liberty have enough depth to overcome if she can't go. But yeah, it's definitely a blow. Twins get a second run, 2-1 Yankees. Twins, sorry. Yankees are plus 110 live right now, but there's a runner on second, so I wouldn't run after that right now. Both teams go to the bench a little bit here. Probably the spot where Phoenix can get some points. Dinescu with another block, second block of the day. Gets it. Dinescu fires up a 3, of course. No chance. Jones gets it, gets to Messiman. Emma Messiman, professional player. Simple, easy basket. They just don't have the size. Now the Lynx will have some of the size that can bat with Jessica Shepard, Collier. Shepard's not as big as Jones, but he's bigger than anything Phoenix has. Emma Messiman. He's the assist. That's our first assist there for Inescu. Sure why it's delayed, but yeah, there it is. And this is what Phoenix can do. They can shoot the outside 3. That's going to be something they're going to have to do to stay in the game. Big 3 there. Emma went to the well too many times. All right, Copper's going to draw the foul here. Continues to try to get to her 15 pretty easily. Brianna Stewart has not got back in the game after playing 4 minutes in the first quarter. Right now, Emma's playing fine. Again, Emma's got experience. European Player of the Year. She's won a title already in the W with the Washington Mystics. 2019, I believe. Good first quarter for Inescu, 4-2-1. Brianna does come back in, so that's good news. Got no points here. Jones is going to get the seat, so that's where Stewie and Emma's going to still make a pretty big, massive front line here. Alyssa Thomas is going to have to play a lot of minutes. Emma's going to go to the line. Chance to extend the lead. Get it back to 3 points. All right, the Yankees get out of the inning. We're up to the top of the third. You can get the Yankees now live at plus 108. If you didn't get the Yankees, I still like these. I think they're going to be able to get the Taj Bradley. They like their bullpen better than the Twins' bullpen. Twins have not been really concerned about winning lately. So Brewers get on the board. They're up 2 as they continue to try to get the National League overall best record in the National League. 92 wins. Nobody kind of saw that at all. They have kind of exploded. So, all right, Emma's able to get 1 out of 2. There we go. Home run Yankees. Boom. There goes the plus 102. We said we should be able to get the Taj Bradley. I know a lot of you are on the over. Good start. 4 runs. First 2, Dewana Bonners flies in there and scores. Tie ball game here. Athletics tie it up with the Red Sox 2-2. I know Ramon gave out the over 8 in this game. They're just going to MMS them, and it's her world, and there's nothing they can do. MMS them in 9 first quarter points. Actually, it might be 7. Guardians still up 1. Won't go away. Padres and Mets are tied 2-2. All right, Benny. Let's go, Benny. My fantasy player, Ben Rice here. Need a hit. That's not a hit, Benny. What are you doing? Ooh. What's the Thomas? What a load. Exactly what you want from a power forward, except you wish you could shoot better. You just absolutely destroyed Rebecca Gardner here. Tries to come through in the hedge. I also don't know how they're doing an and one on this since she dribbled after she went through Gardner. So I don't know how this is an and one. It shouldn't have been an and one. Not like you gathered. She took a dribble after she went through her. Great work, WNBA. We're watching the sweeper clean up the floor while the ball's on the other side of the court. All right, Kennedy Burke gets to the line. Phoenix, the 1-point lead here. Not a lot off the defense here. It's 22-21. Both teams finding pretty easy ways to get to the bucket. We've got a live total of 166. Pre-flop was 162, I believe. First game went slightly over. Be interesting to see how this game's. I don't think we're going to get into the scores where we got 90-point pass, but yeah, it's so far it's looking pretty good from an over perspective. But again, plenty of games start off this way and then just kind of die in the second quarter. Brianna Stewart still yet to take a shot. Actually took 1-3, 2 shots. She missed them both. So she's still scoreless on the board. Davidge is still scored. Jonquel Jones is your leading scorer at 7 points. I'd want like 172, but yeah, not really sure they're going to continue this pace. I mean, right now Phoenix is shooting an unbelievable pace. I think they're shooting 80%. Let me see what they're shooting for the field. So when we dive into the actual statistics, which is always what I do to kind of look and see, is this sustainable? The Phoenix is shooting 33% for 3, 42% for the field, 52%. So we're going to get a 50-point first quarter. I probably think that's the most we're going to see all game. I don't think we see another 50-point first quarter. Very good efficiency. Both teams shooting close to 50% for the field. Both teams exactly 3 of 7 from 3. Getting nothing from Brianna Stewart to me is a kind of an issue here from a Liberty side here. But again, they're at home. They do have enough players to overcome that. This is really Kalea Copper and Alyssa Thomas. Everybody else is just kind of watching. You're at 169.5. I'd kind of wait, see if we get in first couple minutes here. Especially the other thing I would say, if you're considering going under, did you take the pre-flop over? Do you have a 162 in pocket here? Or are we trying to middle here? Because most likely you're not. 80 points is probably what you're looking at most quarters, most halves for these teams. So a 170 thinks that this one's going to be an easy 40-point quarter, which it's possibly could be. And in the second half, we bogged down as teams get a little bit more stymied. But I would kind of wait to see how this quarter goes to the half. I do think we're going to fall somewhere in the 160s in this game. But I'm going to wait because even if we get another 45-point quarter, we're going to get like a 176 or 178. Then I might be really wanting to hit. But I probably get about a 42, 44-point quarter for the second quarter here. Again, you're getting nothing from Stewie. She's got 2 assists. Emma Messiman and Jonquel Jones is your big scorers here for the Liberty. Westfeld's got 5 for Phoenix, which is helping them out. Thomas has got 5 and Cooper's got 6. I know they were flashing 9, but I was like, I didn't see a 9. Live player quarter props. I'm not sure I would tackle any of these. I'd probably look at Copper most of the time. Plus 195, but I assume she's going to have to sit for at least the first 2 minutes of this quarter. And if that's the case, I'm going to look to see if I can get a better price. Copper played 8 minutes that quarter. Thomas played 9 minutes that quarter. Tasha Cloud actually played all 10 minutes. That can't be. They can't continue that going forward. Plays her old club from the previous year. Yankees Twins go to the bottom of the third, 2-2. Brewers add 2 more. You're up 5-0. Athletics add another 2. They're up 4-2. Cleveland adds their insurance run, 2-0. Royals are 3-2. Astros and Texas gets started. There's nothing I have in that game at all. I can't trust either of those teams. Astros keeps losing players left and right. All right. All right, Natasha Cloud's finally going to get a rest. Copper got a 11-second rest. So Copper got an 11-second rest. Copper to score 6 points is probably what I'm going to take here in the second quarter at plus 195. Shocked she's in that quickly, but no problem. I'm going to take that for a half unit. Copper to score 6 points in the second quarter. You can find that under live player quarter props. It's under featured. It's also under quick bets on FanDuel at plus 195. Dow Jones in there. Sabali then can drive in. Finally gets a basket to get in this game. And Stewart dribbles off her leg. Bonner will barely hit the rim. Phoenix has 2 players sitting in the same corner. And there goes Sabali again. No Jonquel Jones. Sabali goes inside. The number of illegal screens that the W allows is hilarious. All right, Stewie gets on the board with an offensive rebound. She gets 2. Probably solid 2 baskets go in, steps up, shoots a 3 in her eye. She can shoot it from out there. Now what you might be able to get the Liberty on a nice number. Phoenix gets up 5. You get the Liberty still at minus 136. Books do not want to give you the Liberty at all. And New York's going to call timeout. Probably nice drive. All right. So Phoenix up 5. Still not getting a great line of Liberty. It's minus 125. Minus 122 to win. Down 5. Should be like a minus 110 number, but the books don't want to give it. Toronto ties it up with Tampa Bay 1-1. Lewis Hill in trouble again. Runner on second. No outs. Not having a good night at all from a pitching perspective here for Lewis Hill. Kind of shocked Minnesota's getting to him. They haven't scored that many runs. Slam Chado is what Ramon says. Crap God jumped on the Liberty minus 117. Okay. I'm not understanding the slam shadow, Ramon. You have to get on and tell me what that means. Oh, is that Machado hit a grand slam here for San Diego? That would be my best guess of what a slam shadow is. Let's see. That what slam shadow is? Yeah, Machado hit a grand slam. All right, grand slam for Manny Machado. San Diego is up 6-2. If we take a live look at the wild card, Padres sitting there at the wild card position, 4 games up on the Mets, 6 games up on the Diamondbacks, 6.5 on the Reds. Mets sitting there at that sole wild card position. Good place. Brewers, Phillies, and Dodgers. As we talked about, Brewers are up 5-0 as they continue to try to go for the number 1 National League position. Let's see there. We're Blue Jays, Tigers, and Mariners. A little bit different story. Blue Jays up 4 games on Detroit here for the number 1 American League position. Yankees hanging in there for that 4th wild card spot. Astros still there. Red Sox there. Guardians won't go away. They're 2.5 back. Red Sox are trailing. They could make that down to 1.5 now tonight. Rangers go tonight down 3.5. I really think the Royals and Rays have quit. I really don't think they care. They brought back Reagans tonight. At least he is winning for KC. Yep. Phoenix. Shooting very well from outside, keeping them in this game. I'm interested to see if Jonquil Jones is back in the game, because when she's been in the game, they really have no answer for her. Kennedy Burke should not be shooting. Uh-oh. All right, gets down to Copper. Copper gets 2. All right, we need 4 more from Copper. We'll take the 2 easily. They are really definitely going after Ionescu. Whoever Ionescu is guarding, they are going right after. Ionescu draws the foul, but remember last time she missed all 3 free throws last time, so Not sure this will help her. We'll see. She typically is a very good free throw shooter, but for whatever reason, missed them all last time. All right, Minnesota gets 2 outs for runner on third. Lewis Heel tries to get out of it, and Ionescu has now missed 5 in a row. He's missed 5 in a row from the free throw line. Sably has just as many points as she had in game 1. He already has that in there. All right, Ionescu finally makes a free throw. Cuts the lead to 6. Toronto and Tampa tied 1-1. Toronto's got 2 men on, though. Seymour's pitched well, but I didn't really like this lineup for Tampa. That's Toronto. But, I mean, obviously, Toronto's not the same without Bichette. Will not play to the playoffs again. So, there's lots of fouls being. Liberty are definitely taking advantage of that. So, Makani goes to the bench with 3 fouls already in the second quarter. Ionescu picks up her 3rd rebound. John Quell, there you go. John Quell, come on, John Quell. Come on, you had that. That should have been your 5th rebound. John Quell misses, but she could have 4. We're fine with 4. Should have had 5, but got the ball taken away. Nobody scored in this game in about a minute or 2. Bebic with the worst Euro step you've ever seen in the world, and somehow that's called a foul. And Bebic is going to go to the line. Her attempt at the basket went over the entire basket. So, yep. Liberty have missed 6 free throws. What they have yet to tell you is all 6 missed free throws were all from Ionescu. So yes, they're an 84% free throw shooter, but they're acting like, oh, the Liberty are having trouble shooting free throws. No, it's really just one player. He's having trouble shooting free throws. Bebic comes in, gets them both. We actually finally had some points scored in this game. Liberty cut it to 4 with 5 minutes to go. Seymour gets out of it. No runs given up. Boston's got bases loaded. What can we get the Boston at? Sably gets the offensive rebound and the foul. Goes against Jonquel Jones. I think that's her 2nd. Probably her 2nd. Jones kind of hits her in the head and kind of then looks around and says, what? Why'd you call a foul on me? He kind of hit her in the head. So, all right, Lewis, got to get out of this. Yeah, but she's actually making. She's 2 of 6. I mean, none of the Liberty are actually shooting well. The only player shooting well is Jonquel Jones. He's 3 or 4. Cloud has only basically taken 1 shot. She hit the 1 shot she took. Go down to Jonquel Jones. She kicks out to Ionescu. Ionescu pushes off. No call. Bebic and Jones fight for it. They do get the offensive rebound. And then they throw it right to Whitehead. Sably's going to drive in. Bonner's going to get an easy layup. 9-point Phoenix lead, saying we don't want to go home. Nice pass there by Ionescu, and Bebic blows the layup. Come on, Ionescu. That was, ugh. The Liberty are getting nothing from Stewie, and with nothing from Stewie, it's Phoenix is taking over here. Phoenix is up 11. Melissa Thomas comes down. Angels get on the board. Red Sox get 1 run, 4-3. I know Ramon, like we said, gave out the over. That looks pretty good. Padres 6-3. Mets get a run back. And the Yankees get out of it. We go to the fourth, 2-2. I don't know how many times they're going to continue to get out of it. Lewis Heal's trying his best to try to screw them, but yeah. Oh, Todd Bradley. Pitch count up to right now. We said 9 o'clock. We will go through the college football games for the week. We'll talk about this game. Should be at the halftime by then. We've got a 21-point score to the 5 minutes. So shockingly, but it's almost all entirely by the Mercury. 16-5 run right now for the second quarter. Columbus has scored. New York FC has scored 1-1. There's your both teams scored. Minnesota and Austin have started. Like Minnesota in that game, but just I have that game on my card. Okay. Is that a makeup game? Gerardo, what's up with the Minnesota game? Why is that game not on my card? Is this a makeup game? Is this a game that already started and they're finishing off? Oh, it's an open cup game. Ah, that's why I didn't have it. Okay. Let me see who's playing for that. Robert Laud is playing. Bo is playing, but he is. Yeah, it's a nothing for me. All right, Real Salt Lake and LAFC is getting better. LAFC has kind of had a nice resurgence here, obviously adding Heung-min Son, who has scored in 3 straight games, has scored in 2 out of his last 3 for LAFC. Probably going to be something I'm going to try to get on as well in this game. I like LAFC here tonight. I like them that probably over 1.5 team goals. Let's see what we can do with that. 13-point Mercury lead. Copper gets 2 more, so that's 4. We just need 2 more to cash our 195 bet. Dewey is tied up here. And they finally call a foul. That's kind of odd because the Fever were allowed to just slap the players in the face. And got to play Yankees. Another one. 3-2. So Goldschmidt doubles in a run. They're up 3-2, minus 310. Yankees live. Talking basketball. Apparently, there's a report that Kawhi's uncle, who was doing some of his negotiations, when talking to the Lakers, he wanted equity in the team. He wanted private jets. He wanted guaranteed NIL endorsements. I mean, if teams are allowed to do this, they're going to start to basically just circumvent the cap. It's kind of a joke. Boy, Liberty did not look good right now. Second quarter, major issues, getting nothing for Brianna Stewart. Another turnover, almost got the steal from Natasha Cloud. AT comes up. Copper does go to the line here, and she makes the first one. That was an adventure. She had every part of the rim on that one. If she hits this, we cash the plus 195. So if we would have clashed Jones's threes early, we can get this. Let's not call it before it happens. Been plenty of games where I've got 5. Nope, she gets it. All right, cash the plus 195. Ring that bell, ring that bell. Ring the bell. Little cowbell for you right there. We're going to cash plus 195. We're going to take that to the bank. Liberty are having all kinds of trouble getting any kind of an offense here. This is just Cloud trying to save them. Terrible shot. Thomas just bulls her way in there. She always does. Gets the easy 2 points. And Liberty will call another timeout again. They're down 19 now. I'm going to tell you flat out, in the W, teams typically don't come back from this. They just don't hit enough threes to come back. You could probably start looking at Phoenix at any number, and they're probably going to have this game. So it looks like it's going to go 3. Yeah, not looking good at all for the Liberty. We still could get some of our prop bets. Like we said, we just got the plus 195. Kind of move on from there. And we get ready for the next one. So we'll see if Cloud can figure out where the basket is. She's only taking 3 shots. She needs to get involved here because they badly need some kind of offense. Dewey's only at 2 points. Yeah, I mean, they've only scored 5 points for the whole quarter. Getting outscored 24-5. Totals dropped down to 166. Not hitting outside threes. Kind of would have thought you would have went to Messiman. They didn't. Messiman had a great first quarter. Not good when all 3 of their big players have already hit double figures. That's never a good result for your team. Not even looking like they're playing a good offense. Like, not even getting good shots. Like, I mean, this was a Spring Ionescu coming off pin action, and she airballs the 3. They clearly see she was trying to guide the shot and then just shoot it. There'll be a point where with Stewie hurt, I mean, she probably just sits. If she can get back and get something good to go in for 3. WNBA's version of an alley-oop is that Bonner hit the under part of the rim, some of the backboard. No conversation here. Guard even comes around Jones and gets the steal. Yeah. everybody's going to have a chance to score here finally because they called a tech against Phoenix. So it'll be wide open from the line. Oh, we move on. 49, 30. You got to be able to get a free point here. Should get a free point here. 4-3. Red Sox could only muster the one run with the bases loaded. Yankees got 2 men on here. 3-2, second and third, 2 outs. Trying to add some more to it. Yeah. I mean, but okay. Here's what I'll sit there and say. If you look at what their demands are, it's not really equal pay. That's the thing where it says, hey, we want equal pay. They want pay based on the revenue of the sport. And we know what it's done in the past. And that's kind of where the league is saying, hey, we've been subsidizing and in there. But those days are no more. The league has made money. The revenue brought in just from the number one team was the expansion team, which essentially did $50 million, which was double what any team did last year. And other teams brought in similar money, but not as much as $50 million. So then you add the expansion fees of 4 teams, which is another $50 million added on just to have a team. And those fees have gone up. So there's money there that the league is going to make. New TV deals, new contracts, things of that nature. So them asking to say we want a percentage based on what the league makes in revenue is not a terrible ask, because where the league wants to kind of cap it and just say, hey, we were going to give you 4 times what you were making now. We're going to have salaries close to $1 million on your top players. Yes, that all seems great. But if the league starts to really make money, and it's going to make money with some of these years we're going to have 2 franchises come in, that's $100 million for the league already. It is kind of makes sense to say, hey, we should be able to make more than that because the league's making money. So having it based on a percentage of revenue, and they'll eventually agree to that. It's just going to be a question of what number. But it probably won't be the 7% that they're asking for, but 5% makes sense. But I think next year is going to be the most interesting year for the WNBA ever. It has nothing to do with the expansion teams. It has to do with that 87% of your league is a free agent. Imagine if the NFL had 80% of their leagues as free agents. That meant the next year, every team could just go get whatever they need, as long as you could stay under the cap. So it's so crazy that you have that, because there's going to probably be 3 or 4 super teams created. Like right now, we got 4 good teams, and some of the other teams are not as good. And Phoenix has played well. Maybe you could argue there's 6, but really championship-wise, there's probably only 4. But next year, that could increase tremendously because, again, the Liberty, I think, for the most part, will stay intact. But Atlanta's probably going to be a totally different look team. And a lot of players are going to say, a lot of players may want to go play with Golden State for what that coach did. Tremendous job that she did. But I really think they're going to look at rookies and look to play. A lot of people are going to go run up to go play, add with Paige Beckers. Paige Beckers will probably have a big 3 and a much better supporting cast than she would have ever had in any normal year. next year. I still think the Sky. You could argue, but they have two very good players in Reese and Cardosa. Now I think they get rid of Reese, but Cloud hits a 3. That's good for us. So that gives us the second 3. Her up to 6 points. We're within range on that. LA, just because it's LA, has a chance basically to kind of build their own team. The Aces will probably build their team with Asia. Some other players will go down to there, and there's going to be one team's going to have 4 or 5 really good players, and have a chance to be really good. I hope it doesn't turn into that, but it's unlike any year in any sport ever. You could essentially assemble your whole team, and there's nothing anybody can do except you playing with the cap. That there's just nothing anybody can do. You can get big players to go wherever you want. Griner could be leaving Atlanta. I don't think she actually will. She's not really playing that much, but there, Washington Mystics. I mean, the only reason I wouldn't want to go to the Washington Mystics is because they're going to have 5 players that are rookies or second-year players on their team, all at different positions. So there's no guarantee that you're going to have your spot for long, like Brittany Sykes, which she saw the writing on the wall. She knows they wanted to go to a youth movement, but they could be a very, very good team very, very quickly if they kind of get some of the right hires signed. So, I mean, Citron's a solid player. Kiki's a solid player. Georgia Amari was actually rated better to both of them on a lot of draft boards, and she sat out the year. And then they're going to have 2 first-round picks next year. So be able to add extra players as well. So it's going to be a very interesting year for the W, because I think there do players want to play with Caitlin as much as her whining and some of the things there? That'll be very interesting to see. Like, does Kelsey Mitchell stick around in Indiana, or does she join a super team? So, all right. So we've got 37-51. It's a 14-point game at the half. At least the Liberty tried a little bit to get there. Inescu's your leading scorer at 9 points. We talked about Brianna Stewart. She's only played 11 minutes, only took 4 shots, made 1. John Cole Jones got off to that great start and then kind of fluttered, gave nothing in the second half. Clouds hit 2 threes, 1 3 very at the end of the half here, which was a big 3. Jones has got 5 rebounds, so we should hopefully get that bet in. Inescu's got 4. That's kind of the one way I'd kind of be looking to play live. Thomas has 13 points. She was under 10 the first game. Sabally under 10 the first game, has 12 points. Copper at 15 the first game. She has 12. Not a lot from the bench. Westfield's given us 5. Bonner's given 4. Still think Bonner somehow gets to 10. She just generally does. Yankees blow it open, 7-2. Taj Bradley, we talked about, could be all crazy, and they're going to go to the bottom of the 4th. The Yankees with a big lead right now. So see if the Red Sox can help us out here, give us a lead here, or the Lynx win. That'll be another parlay that we'll hit, and we'll be fine with that. All right. Carter checking in, saying their Guardians are up 2. All right, just let's see first if there's any live opportunities we can get into this game. And then we'll get ready to break down college football. All right, so I'd be looking at the rebounds of Inescu because it's normally not that high. Normally it's probably going to be 2. Now what they're going to give us 3 more rebounds. Jones is back down to 9.5. We were sitting at 10.5 in the second quarter. They're worried about the score getting away. Live total, if you're looking at, got a 38-point total, 166. All right, joining us will be special guest, Witty College Football, the man, the myth, the legend, the massive, big Florida fan who went down, left Philadelphia to travel down to live in Florida and be able to go to Gator games and pick the year to do it. So, all right, how you doing, Rob?
Yeah, I appreciate the warm introduction. You probably could have left out the Florida situation with everybody given the start of the season, but it's great. It's great to be here and talk some ball.
Yeah, it should be a very good year. So we'll go into it first. We'll start there at 9:00. We'll go to the big game. All right. So I don't think DJ Lagway throws 5 interceptions this weekend. I don't think he'll be in the game that long if he throws 2. I really think he'll eventually get the hook. I have no idea who's behind him. I'm sure it's some little white kid. But
Harrison Bailey's their backup, transferred from Louisville, a bunch of other schools he's been to. So glorified journeyman in college football.
Okay. I mean, I do worry about this game because much as you could say, you still have an outstanding defense. You still have some big playmakers in Baugh, and I worry Baugh can get loose once. He could have a big run versus us. And obviously, I worry about Wilson. Hopefully, there. I keep looking to see if he's jumped to the transfer portal yet. But he looks like he will play this game. But yeah, there is some playmakers still on this Florida team, and the defense is still very, very good. Where obviously, if Carson Beck went out for any reason in this game, it becomes a totally different game. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, because I mean, in terms of this Florida Miami game, I mean, last week the Gators gave up 96 yards on 25 tries, which is about four yards per rush. And the defense obviously has been the strong point of this year. I think the secondary is a lot better than people give them credit for. But I mean, at this point, I mean, Miami's looking pretty strong. I mean, right now they're 3-0. They won 49-12 last week versus UCF. I mean, I would definitely love to see that running game going a little bit more. I mean, they've only had about 40 yards last week. However, all things considered, I mean, they were pretty much kind of showing up exactly as we kind of thought they would. I mean, they're averaging 40 yards per game. And to me, as long as they keep doing what they're doing, and maybe if they can clean up the penalties a little bit, I would be surprised if Florida, was in this game. I think maybe it could be something closer to 10 or 14 points, but I think this is a game that I think Miami's going to take care of just like they did last year.
Yeah, I do like it that this game is once again in Miami versus obviously we don't got to go to Gainesville. So that'll be big. Do you hear who Miami has at the game?
What do you mean who they have at the game?
Miami has really went after. So this game, they've got the most recruits that they're going to have to any game, including the FSU game. They have the number 1 wide receiver recruit from Oregon coming in, the number 2 wide receiver recruit from Oregon coming in, the number 3 one coming in, the 4th one coming in, the 6th one coming in, the 8th one coming in, the 9th one coming in, the 11th one coming in, and actually 13 through 21. I played enough EA Sports that it tells you shouldn't have guys at the same position go to the same weekend. But somehow also EA Sports only lets me take 4 guys in a week, and they're going to have like 27 guys in for this game. So they've got the top 5-star defensive end coming in out of Illinois, also coming to this game. It is a massive recruiting week. Miami is putting a lot of eggs in this basket that they're going to win this game and look decently. I worry about this game because they're just things that I can see. There's talent on both sides, and I don't want them to overlook this game because, again, this is their start of their gauntlet. Like, you can talk Miami national championship all you want. You can get them at 17-1. It's probably a good bet. The issue is in 2 weeks after this game, they're going to play Florida State. Then they're going to play a team they struggle against, which is Louisville. So any of those teams, I think, could actually beat Miami, especially depending upon injuries. There, Josiah Trader, we are told, will actually see the field this week, even though we were told that last week, and he never saw the field at all. So, other than that, it should be a very, very good game. LSU is 20-10. I can't really think that this one's going to be a really huge outscoring game. I love the under in this game. I think your defense keeps it up. I keeps it close. I think Miami kind of gets their points, but I do feel this is going to be a sweat for most of the game. I see this as maybe Miami wins this by maybe a late field goal gives them there, and they win this by probably about 7 to 10 points. I'm not taking Miami minus 7.5. This game scares me from a defensive standpoint, but I have taken the under 51.5. I think we're going to see about a score in the 30s. So I think Florida's defense is very, very good. I think Miami's front four will be able to stop the run here from Ball and really kind of force Lagway into making some decisions. And who knows, maybe he makes the right decisions this week. Last week, he made some stupid decisions. My favorite one was where he rolled out, tried to throw it out of bounds, and missed it by about 10 yards. And the LSU quarterback just went, okay, I'll just pick this one off because this is an absolute terrible pass. And they were in the game. They were in the game the whole second half. He just kept on giving it away. I was surprised with some of the play calling that was done to try to say, hey, maybe we should stop trying to make 50-yard passes and just get 4 or 5 yards here. We can get a field goal here and a field goal there. We're in this game. But he was terrible. He's just beyond terrible. So,
yeah, that's putting it lightly. But the last point I'll make is you brought it up a couple seconds ago. I mean, I think if Florida has any chance to win this game, they can't abandon the run game. They did that at the very beginning of the UCF game, at the USF game, and I think to a degree they did it versus LSU too. I think they're making DJ Lagway do way too much with kind of what he's given right now. I mean, you can tell he's clearly not 100%, clearly not comfortable in there. But at the same time, Billy Napier is also not really setting it up for success too. And I've talked about on my podcast before, I think the problem with Florida is Billy Napier as a play caller, not so much as a head coach. And I think if he keeps on doing what he's doing, you're going to see another example of that this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they don't run more quarterback powers. They just sit there and go, okay, he has trouble staying in the field. Well, let's make it easy for him. That's what you do with a guy who's a runner. Let's cut down half of the field. He's only skewing half the field, and if that half is not open, he takes off and he picks up 3 or 4 yards, and kind of see what it is. But we'll cut it there. So, all right, we'll start Thursday. You probably have nothing in this, but Rice plays Charlotte, and I like Rice here minus 2.5. I like what we're seeing essentially for this Rice team. I think they've played better competition, and for that reason, I think they covered the 2.5 quite easily there. And I don't think you probably have any opinion on Rice or Charlotte, unless I'm wrong.
I mean, I only know I would agree with Rice. Obviously Charlotte's definitely in still of a rebuild. They joined the FBS about 10 or so, 10, 15 years ago or so. And current head coach is Tim Albin, who was with Ohio before. And they had Biff Poggi before, who I love the cutoff t-shirts that he does. And quite frankly, I think they fired him a little prematurely. But to me, Rice just kind of seems like a team that's a little bit more built to win right now. And also, they're running the triple option. They had the guy from Davidson in there, so I'm pretty sure they're running the triple option right now, which is pretty cool. So
they are, but they are still throwing it. E.J. Mason is their big gun catching the football, but they've got a guy with 288, a guy with 177. Granted, they played Monmouth, and the guy had 200 yards versus Monmouth, so that's kind of skewing his stats. But I like Ejai Mason to get involved. I think they're going to have to need him. They're going to do some dump offs, some wide receiver screens, still things of that with the triple option is what they kind of do. And I think he gets his 40.5 receiving yards tomorrow night. Moving on to Friday. Friday, we don't have that much good games, but we do have two interesting games. You have Tulsa and Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State has looked like trash. Tulsa, another team a lot of people thought a little bit coming into this year. Some people liked what they were going to be able to do. You've got Gundy in Oklahoma State. You didn't really know what he had. Doesn't look like he has much, to be flat honest with you. But any talk on these two teams?
Yeah, I mean, right now, Oklahoma State, it's one of those things where it's right now, there's a reason why you don't hire your friends as coordinators. He hired Doug Mercham, who hasn't called plays in about 3 seasons. And then you hired Todd Granaham, whose track record is suspect to say the least. He was defensive coordinator there at Florida a couple of years ago. So maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I think it is a good gain for Oklahoma State to kind of get the wheels turning again, really get that offense going, and most importantly, get their quarterback feeling a little more confident. I think it's a big deal that they're going to be in Stillwater. Tulsa, I don't think has been as good as people kind of expected in the beginning of the season. I think they were probably going to maybe flirt with possibly being one of the group of 5 contender, even though we're kind of seeing that it's probably not going to be them. So if you ask me if I'm Oklahoma State, I'm sitting here trying to get my quarterback with some more confidence again. Hopefully the defense shows up a little bit and they show up relatively there and not going away with too many injuries. But I'm pretty sure the betting line was 13.5. I think Oklahoma State
13.5 moved to 11.5. The money's coming in on Tulsa.
Yeah. I'm not surprised by that though. But I think Mike Gundy always figures a way out, and I think this could be the start to that. I'm not saying that they're going to go 8-4 all of a sudden, but I think this will be a nice game for him to come back in. So I think Oklahoma State will be fine here.
Okay. Now the fun team. The team has no offense versus Rutgers.
Yeah, I mean this will be a fun game because I grew up about an hour away from Rutgers, and I've covered Rutgers extensively on my podcast. And I guess what's been most fascinating about Rutgers up to this point is usually they are known for their defense. However, it's been a complete opposite shift this year. They've been able to put up points. However, they haven't really been able to get many stops. So to me, it's that's going to be the big question in terms of who gets more stops, because I think Rutgers looked a little bit didn't look as strong versus Ohio week 1. But I think you also look at this Iowa team and you say to yourself, Mark Gronowski really didn't show up very well versus Albany week 1. He didn't really show up much versus Iowa State. And their star receiver, Jacob Gill, also didn't get a lot of separation. So to me, this really comes down to who's going to get more stops and who isn't going to turn over the ball as much. But I think it's going to be a really competitive game. And I think Rutgers is one of those teams that doesn't get enough love at all, even though they're in a really tight Big Ten.
Do you think Rutgers has enough to win this game?
If they can make sure that if they can shut down Jacob Gill and they force Gronowski to run the ball, because he's also their leading rusher too. So I think if that's really going to be the big question. I think if you get Gronowski out of a rhythm, which is kind of ironic because he has the most wins ever of a college football quarterback in NCAA history. But yeah, I think there is a real chance that Rutgers could win this game, especially since they're home too.
Okay. I mean, I can say Gronowski has not really done anything since making the move over from the Dakotas. I mean, he's been okay. He hasn't turned the ball over, which probably is his best thing for the most part. But 300 yards passing in 3 games is not exactly what you want out of your quarterback position, especially your starting quarterback position. All right. So that's the Friday game. We don't get any really big games. So I guess that'll be the one game we look at. And then we're going to there's some games I question to be to kind of look at and we'll kind of get your thoughts on them. North Texas, who's got that Power 5 outside that Power 5, who's always been a very, very good AAC team, is going to basically be able to play Army at +2.5. Any side, any shocking surprise are you will with North Texas and what they've been able to accomplish already this year, and kind of going forward, what you see from them? Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think people, I would say this to a degree. I've definitely been surprised with North Texas' start to a degree. I mean, they started 3-0. They put up 59 points last week. However, I would like to mention too, Army at home in terms of September. I mean, they've won their last 15 out of 16 games playing at home. And also North Texas has struggled on the road historically. I mean, they've lost their last 8 out of 10. So when you think about that and you kind of think about what's going on, I think this could be one of those games where North Texas certainly has a lot of momentum going into this game. And, they have demonstrated that they can compete in this games, but at least in my opinion, this seems like a game that could really frustrate North Texas. And especially since Army does have that home field advantage, I could see Army just having a slight favorite in this game simply because of the home advantage, even though I think this is going to be a really close game.
Okay. It's 2.5, so it's gonna be pretty good. So I did not do the Army stat at home, so I'll have to take that into account. Syracuse and Clemson, because I know you love to bash Clemson, so I will give that one to you and I'll let you have the mic here.
No, I mean, I sat down and watched Dabo's press conference, and I was just eating it up. I mean, he's right though. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, what are they going to do? They can't go out and hire anyone else. Dabo is Clemson, and if he wanted to leave tomorrow, there would be 15 schools calling him immediately. But in any event, I mean, I think for Clemson, I mean, I think it's very similar boat to the Oklahoma State Tulsa conversation in the sense that Syracuse is definitely a team that is still figuring some things out, especially defensively. They haven't really been as sharp as everybody would like to believe. And obviously Cade Klubnik, clearly there's some misalignment there. And, having the injuries to Antonio Williams certainly isn't helping either. And I think that's kind of what you really ask yourself at this point, because Clemson really needs to win out in order to really have any sort of contention in the playoff whatsoever. So to me, I think Syracuse could give them some problems, but I just think Clemson is just too talented of a team to kind of let this game slip.
But I do kind of see when I've watched I watched Syracuse in week 1, and they didn't look that good at all when playing Tennessee. Tennessee just absolutely showed them it was there. And then when you turned around and they played UConn, they came back, and obviously they looked fine playing Colgate, which actually was on TV. That was shocking to see. But I think they're starting to get better and better as the weeks go on. Like their team, I'm not real happy that we played them at the end of their schedule, because I think they'll be a much better team by the time we play them versus what they are now. 17.5 points, though, is a lot of points from this Clemson team. Still has a very good defense. Has, on paper, has players, but not really sure I could get behind them at 17.5. I'd probably lean Syracuse right now. Arkansas.
Steve Angeli's also the leader, passing leader in the FBS right now too. So that's something to keep in mind too if anybody's out there betting on or anything like that too.
Yeah, and Jelly's played better as he's gone. Like had some troubles for Tennessee, but played much better. Obviously, the competition's been a lot. So step up in competition again. We'll see kind of how he goes from here. But yeah, Arkansas and Memphis. Arkansas comes in this game after a great game playing against Ole Miss last week, which they lost the heartbreaker. No defense in that game whatsoever, 35-41. Playing a Memphis team, another team that people are looking at that from that outside Power 5. This is a massive game for Memphis for them to kind of prove that they could belong if they could run the table here. Big game for them. Taylor Green still hasn't learned how to do the forward pass. For most of all, it's still basically on his legs that most of everything's there. He's their leading rusher. He is their leading passer. But again, 866 with 3 games, not exactly lighting the world on fire. Does have a nice 11-2 ratio, but again, they could score. They just can't play any defense whatsoever. At Memphis, very interesting game. What's your look?
Yeah, because I mean, I just like you mentioned before. I mean, the Arkansas Ole Miss game was a lot of fun last week, and Ryan Satterfield, what he's doing at Memphis right now, I think it's probably one of the most probably underrated jobs that he's done in the entire country. And I wouldn't be surprised in this next coaching cycle that he doesn't get poached by a bigger school. But I think a lot of people are overlooking Arkansas, and definitely I can understand why. I mean, defensively, they haven't really been very, very strong throughout the year. Obviously, Taylor Green had some turnover issues last season, which I think is kind of making people a little reluctant. But you gotta love what they're doing offensively. I mean, right now Taylor Green is about 860 passing yards. He's definitely spreading the ball around. Omega Blake is their top receiver. He has 266 yards and 3 touchdowns on the season. I definitely think this will be one of those games where, so far, I mean, I really like Arkansas in this game. I think Memphis definitely they have some really good playmakers. They've definitely been more of a balanced team than the past couple of seasons, but to me this just feels like a game that Arkansas can take care of.
All right, interesting. I kind of lean Memphis, but we'll see. I think it's gonna be a good game. I think there's gonna be lots of ground game. Memphis gonna probably close the clock. I kind of lean the under. I think 61.5 might be a little bit too much. But here's a team that really has shocked me so far. And I don't know if it was they were just kind of getting ready for this game, maybe a look ahead last week. SMU versus TCU. TCU, one of the weird teams to have a bye in week 2. So they've been off for 2 weeks getting ready for this game. It's an in-state rivalry. SMU versus Texas Christian. SMU, a lot of people loved them last year. You returned Jennings, thought they were going to kind of continue on the way. Jennings right now, 6 touchdowns, 3 picks, though, already on the young season. Miami castaway Romeo Brinson is your leading wide receiver at 314. RJ Maryland at 866. He used to be a bigger deal. He's not really seeing the ball as much as he has in previous years. They don't have the same run game with Brashard Smith. Harden has played well, but he has not been Brashard Smith. What's your take on this game? What's your worry here? I love TCU. I love Josh Hoover. Obviously, they looked really good in week 1, coming out there, just destroying North Carolina. This is going to be a little bit bitter test with SMU. But I don't know how good either of these teams are. But I think TCU's defense is better than SMU's defense.
Exactly. I think you nailed it right on the head there. I mean, that's really what the big question is whose defense do you really trust more? And they're definitely both suspect, but I mean, anybody that's watched Josh Hoover, whether it was the week 1 opener versus North Carolina or even at the tail end of last year, I mean, this guy can ball. And anybody who's seen Sonny Dykes' track record, whether it was SMU, whether he was at Cal, the guy knows how to put points up on the board, and he knows how to develop talent. And to me, it feels like one of those games that even though we kind of have a small sample size with what we've kind of seen right now, after watching the SMU Baylor game a couple weeks ago, I'd be really reluctant to kind of put my faith in SMU. I just think Josh Hoover is also just a better quarterback than Kevin Jennings. And I also think TCU is just a little bit more of a complete team at this moment. So I would definitely give the edge to TCU, but I think this is going to be a game where you're not going to see much defense at all.
Okay. I like TCU -7 here. I think that's kind of the play that I'm looking at. Another good game there at the 12 o'clock level. Really, what game will be interesting? Texas Tech, who bought all those guys, going to travel down to Utah. Both teams are undefeated, 3-0. Good gauge to see if either team is actually for real. Texas Tech ranked, Utah ranked 17 versus 16. What are your thoughts here? I know we still have the outstanding Utah defense. Still questionable at their offense. It's not as bad as the years when Kyle Wilson was quarterback or the other Wilson was quarterbacking. But yeah, they're play for Utah gives them an absolute true playmaker that they can go through. Texas Tech played 3 quarterbacks already. Baron Morton's been there forever. Obviously, that offense can still like to sling it. They still can sling it. It'll be interesting against this Utah team. I like Utah +3. -3, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if in my opinion, Texas Tech and Utah have probably been the best two teams in the Big 12 up to this point. And obviously, there's a lot of hype going into Utah this year and Texas Tech as well. I mean, they brought in a number of recruits. They have so much explosiveness offensively. I mean, their quarterback Baron Morton is averaging over 300 yards per game, passing 11 touchdowns to one interception. So to me, the real question of this game is not so much whether or not Texas Tech is going to be explosive. I mean, they're definitely going to get some plays here and there. But to me, the big question is Utah offensively. I mean, obviously they brought in a number of guys from New Mexico, particularly Devin Dampier. Up to this point, 73% completion percentage, 8 touchdowns, no interceptions. So to me, that's going to be the real question: is can he live up to this big moment and prove to everybody that hey, he's not some guy that was playing some small time football. Like, can he really kind of step up to the plate? Because to me, that's really what it's all about. Kyle Whittingham, Utah team before is, they're historically they've all been defense, and to me this seems like a game that they kind of can show everybody like, hey, we're Utah and we're back here.
All right, I'll go quickly into the next one. Tennessee over UAB minus 38.5. I like Tennessee minus 38.5. I think this is an exercise of the Demons game. They played Georgia so close there. They've got two, for the most part, easier opponents for the next 3 weeks. I think this is a game they know they could at least go out and they're going to put a number. And I think they're going to put a pretty big number on this. I like the first half, minus 21.5. I love Tennessee here. I think they get back to their fast-paced offense. I don't think UAB is very good or have anything that's going to really stop them. All right. We'll not talk about Florida State playing Kent State. Yeah, that's going to be an easy win. Let's talk about two teams that have been disappointing to me, including a team I lost nice money on. James Madison and Liberty. Jamie Chadwell. I absolutely love Jamie Chadwell. I like Ethan Vasco at quarterback there, but definitely does not seem to be having the same team that he's had in years past. So losing outright to Bowling Green, losing outright to Jacksonville State, whose win total was 3.5 for the year. So that's not a good sign for Liberty. James Madison, obviously Signetti's no longer there. They put up a pretty decent game last year, but they've come into this game still 1-1, getting trounced by Louisville. Kind of think James Madison is the way to go. I think there's definitely some major question marks on this Liberty thing. Chadwell's name's coming around, surprisingly, in a bunch of job offers. But I'm not sure he's going to do it if he puts up a losing record this year. So, if you haven't watched this game, the Liberty have quit. This is going to be a 20-point win, most likely by the Mercury. There's really nothing going on in this game at all. So I'm surprised Brandon Stewart's still on the floor, but we did cash the Jonquel Jones. But what's your take? Liberty, James Madison. Does Liberty have any shot here? Is this going to be an easy James Madison win?
Yeah, I mean, James Madison did play Louisville a couple weeks ago, like you said too. But I think the box score is a little bit misleading. I think there was a couple instances where James Madison's defense definitely showed up a little bit better than I kind of expected. So if you ask me, I think this is going to be a pretty clear James Madison win. And for those of you who know about Bob Chesney too, he was at Holy Cross before he stopped at James Madison, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets an interview for the Virginia Tech job or a couple other jobs that might open up on the East Coast. But all things considered, I mean, James Madison is a pretty solid team offensively. Granted, they haven't been as disciplined as you would like to see, but to me, this seems like a team that is heading in the right direction. And then Liberty, I think, has definitely had some struggles as of late, just like you mentioned with the Jacksonville State game. So for me, I would take James Madison in this one.
Yeah, I'm taking James Madison minus the 9.5. It's one of the things I like. All right. Bill Belichick versus one of your favorite teams, the Golden Knights of Central Florida. No Gus
Yeah.
Malzahn there. Golden Knights still somehow get out to a 2-0 start. Our favorite in this game too. I mean, obviously they beat Jacksonville State because they're tremendous, and they beat North Carolina AT&T. Is this just a bad look for Bill Belichick that they're getting 7 versus a UCF team that has played nobody?
Yeah, I mean that's the problem though with UCF is I don't think it's really they haven't really played anybody. Because if you look at them statistically, they lead the FBS right now in terms of in terms of first half opponents points per game and also conversion rate on fourth down. So I mean there definitely is a kind of a slight advantage there, but also too I mean one of the betting odds that I was just reading up on before we got on is North Carolina has struggled to cover the spread against the underdogs. They've missed the mark the last 5 out of 6 games doing this. So I get why things are kind of trending towards UCF, but I think go either way though. I wouldn't be surprised if there's not much scoring in this game because I think both teams are kind of still figuring themselves out, even though UCF statistically speaking, yes, they're playing a lot better than you think. But watch for Miles Montgomery of North Carolina. I think he's going to be a guy that's going to get a lot of touches this Saturday. But I think it can go either way. But I think it's going to be close though.
Okay, so you think Montgomery finally gets his chance to start? And there obviously it's going to be Max Johnson because Lopez looked terrible the last couple games. So I mean, you have to think obviously this is going to be a Max Johnson kind of going through here, or do they go back to Lopez? I know he played versus Richmond. Newkirk played a little bit, or I mean, if Johnson's healthy, you got to think it's Johnson, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I think they started Gio Lopez at the beginning because hey, they brought him in from South Alabama. I think he probably has I think he's kind of more of the high risk, high reward kind of guy, whereas Max Johnson's more of the hey, you know what you're gonna get. He has the experience starting at Texas A&M, but I mean that gruesome injury that he had at the start of 2024, you really do feel for him, and I think it would be great if he got a shot. I don't know whether or not he's starting or not, but I wouldn't be surprised if they pull Lopez if he starts struggling early versus UCF.
All right, Auburn, Oklahoma. You've got one quarterback trying to win the Heisman. You have another quarterback again who still hasn't invented the forward pass. Their best offense is by far Jackson Arnold running. When he has to throw it, who knows where it's going. He's only has 500 yards on the season, again in 3 games. Not something you want to see from your quarterback. Averaging a great 149 yards per game. Rushing the ball, done well. Cobb has been a beast. He's got 100 yards, had 100 yards last game, had 100 yards to get Ball State game. Obviously, Oklahoma is not Ball State. Singleton has been your best receiver coming over from Georgia Tech. Corey Coleman has been on a milk carton for most of the year. Has not really seen the ball that much. Only saw it basically in the blowout game. Like an Oklahoma team whose defense not getting a lot of things. And everyone's talking about Machir for the Heisman. But he's got a 5.3 touchdown to interception ratio. Not exactly like he's got 11 touchdowns here and 3 picks. I've played enough NCAA. I've watched enough NCAA. Anybody with that touchdown to interception ratio really has no chance to win the Heisman. He does have 4 rushing touchdowns, 161 yards, second leading rusher on this team. Should be a very interesting game. I'm taking Oklahoma here minus the 6.5. I think Auburn's going to struggle to move the football. I think Oklahoma's defense is a lot better than people think. They've held teams in check. Their front 4 should be able to stop down. They'll be ready for the quarterback run because that's really all they have. Yep.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that too. I think there's a reason why Hugh Freeze isn't having Jackson Arnold throw the ball as much, and even when you heard his press conferences, at the beginning of the season, that's one of the things he kind of alluded to is hey, he's really trying to make sure that Jackson Arnold is confident that they're patient with him, et cetera, et cetera. But to me, I think the other big conversation I think a lot of people aren't talking about too is, I think Oklahoma is just like last season. I think there's still some struggles there in terms of their offensive line. And, in terms of John Mateer, I think obviously he's legit. He's shown he's a baller. He's shown he's a leader, especially that Michigan game. He deserves a ton of credit for that. But to me, if you're an Oklahoma fan, I think that's really what you kind of have to pay your attention to because, in my opinion, DJ Durkin is one of the best defensive coordinators in the entire country. Auburn has a really, really stout defensive line. I think they're better off in terms of the offensive line, and also their secondary is pretty strong too. I don't think this could be a very high scoring game. I think we're going to be on the little bit of the lower end there, but I don't know what my pick would be here because I think you could argue either way.
Okay. Yeah, I'm taking the -6.5. I think the defense shuts Auburn down, makes them one-dimensional, and forces them to pass, which I don't think they'll do that exceptionally well. All right, so let's talk about the quarterback that had pre-mail affairs. Apparently, is the only quarterback in the country to do so. Get kicked out of his university. Travels down there to Tulane. They come off the big win. They beat Duke. Has to go on as a walk-on. And they're 3-0, and they're playing Ole Miss. Ole Miss, led by Austin Simmons, mixed bag, 4 touchdowns, 4 picks. Tremendous later thing. Walls has been around. Harrison Walls has been there for years. Now a senior. He's their leading receiver, 339 yards. I think this is a game. I think Tulane can stay in this game. I like Tulane plus the 12.5. This is another one that basically opened up at 14.5, quickly got bet down to 12.5, went through that key number of 14. Retzloff has played well every time I've watched him play. And as long as he's the quarterback, I think they have a chance to stick in this game with Ole Miss there. And I think their defense is better than what people think. So.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree with that. I mean, Jake Razliff right now, he's number 3rd in the nation in terms of rushing among quarterbacks. And I think in many ways, Ole Miss is going to have the same sort of challenges that they did last week with Taylor Green and Arkansas. But, I'd say for me, I mean, have they had some struggles offensively versus Kentucky a little bit and a little bit of a slow start? Sure, I think we can definitely admit that too. I think it's definitely going to be a unique challenge for Ole Miss, but to me, this seems like a team that, I think they're just way too talented to kind of let this game slip. So if you ask me, I think Ole Miss will figure it out, but don't be surprised if it's close.
That's kind of where I was thinking. Michigan, Nebraska.
Yeah,
well, I mean, thoughts first, sir. Then I'll give my thoughts. I do have some thoughts in this game.
Yeah, I think I think it's the one thing I'll throw out there. We've talked about. I think a lot of people have talked about the struggles with DJ Lagway. You've talked about the struggles with Arch Manning. But I think Dylan Raiola hasn't had any love this season at all. I mean, he's had he boosts a really high completion percentage. He hasn't turned over the ball much, and he's just being really smart with the football. Now, granted, I think some people could argue out there, hey, he had a little bit of a slow start to Cincinnati. Week 1, hey, I think they're playing Cincinnati. Most teams are playing a poopy FCS school or a group of 5 school. So I think that's one thing to mention there. But, in terms of Michigan too, definitely is going to come down to how well Michigan can kind of run the football. And most importantly, how many mistakes does Raiola make? Can he continue to kind of make these mistakes? Because, at this point, Matt Rule's in his 3rd year and he really needs a statement win. And I think this could be his statement win, so to speak, especially since they're home as well.
Yeah. I like Nebraska plus the 2.5 here. I like Raiola. I like the Nebraska defense. I think they'll force Bryce Underwood to throw. And if you watched any of that Oklahoma game, they were all on him as well. And when Underwood had to throw, and I'm not sure he's ready for prime time. So I like Nebraska plus the 2.5. I'm getting some points here, taking the home dog. One of my favorite plays there will be a premium play as well. Nebraska plus 2.5. So, not going to talk about that. All right, give me. I'm going to just talk this stuff there. So I've looked at Georgia Tech's schedule, and you can get Georgia Tech at plus 370 to win the ACC championship. Now, I don't think they'd win the ACC championship, but I think they're going to represent one side. If you look at their schedule and you see who they have, as long as Haynes King stays upright, it's always a big if. They play Temple, Wake, Virginia Tech, Duke, Syracuse, NC State, BC, and Pittsburgh. They avoid Miami. They avoid FSU. They avoid Louisville. There's no reason they don't run the table there. And they're basically, for that reason, one of the teams in the ACC championship. And the other one is probably the winner between Miami and Florida.
Yeah, because I mean, they play Georgia. Their last week of the season's obviously versus Georgia. I mean, you got to feel pretty confident about that slate. I mean, for the most part, a lot of those teams are probably going to be below 500. But it's exactly what you said. It can Haynes King stay healthy? I mean, that's really what it's going to come down to, because the way that Georgia Tech plays football, it's smash mouth football, and they're going to be in your face the entire time. And they play the same way no matter who they're up against. So to me, that's really the big question mark there. But obviously, too, Georgia Tech, there's a reason why they keep upsetting teams again and again and again. So I mean, you got like what direction they're going in. But Georgia Tech versus Miami, that'd be a really really fun matchup, especially for you too, because in the sense that hey, Miami maybe can get some payback from last year.
Yeah, take a knee.
Take a knee.
All right, I'm going to go quickly. West Virginia, Kansas. I like the over 55.5. I think both teams kind of just able to score pretty much at ease there. I'm just going to move a little faster there. So moving on quickly, Illinois, Indiana. Night game here. The other big time game that really, besides the border or Washington, but really Washington's a much better team. But Illinois, Indiana. What is your take on that? Signetti still, again, 3-0. Altmaier, once again, I still don't have there, but he continues to just do enough for them to win games. Been excellent coaching that they've received. They beat up on Duke by a much bigger score than I thought they were going to have. I was actually on Duke that game. But this will be their first test, playing a number 19 in Indiana, at Indiana. Mendoza, the transfer from California, has looked great. The Illinois game ends in a draw. Okay. Possible. But yeah, what's your take on Illinois, Indiana?
Yeah, because I mean, I think if you're an Illinois fan, you got to be really, really impressive with what you've seen so far, particularly them defensively. I know people like talk about Luke Altmaier too, but I mean, they pretty much shut down Duke altogether. And assuming that they can go on the road and beat Indiana, their only other real challenge that I would argue that they're going to be an underdog in is Ohio State. Because I mean, they don't play Oregon, they don't play Penn State, and they don't play Michigan. Whereas Indiana has to go on the road versus Oregon, and they have to go but they get to host Penn State. So I guess it kind of rules that out there. So in a sense, I think you can maybe sit there and look at this game. If whoever wins this game, I think there is a real shot that they could be, that one of these two teams could be knocking on the door in terms of a college football playoff and being 10-2. But just like you said, Illinois, I mean, they're a well-disciplined team. They have a lot of experience there. I think most importantly, they have an identity, which is something that they haven't been able to figure out in the past couple of years before Brett Bielema. So, I mean, I think there's a reason why Illinois is ranked as high as they are. But granted, Indiana hasn't really played anybody. They played Old Dominion, Kennesaw State, and Indiana State. So to me, this is obviously going to be a big test for both teams, but I'm going to give the slight edge to Illinois here.
Okay. Indiana comes in at home as a home dog -6. Interesting. I'll have to do some little more research. It kind of talked me off my what I was going to do as my play. So other than that, we have the 10 o'clock WNBA game getting the kickoff. The play that I have essentially in this game is kind of a cheeky play, but it's the play I'm going to play. And if you've been watching this game, the Lynx are going to understand everybody else is challenging here. They're going to want to get this game over with. I don't see any reason why they don't go out and just basically kind of throttle this team there. Collier scored 20 points at least in every game versus Golden State this year. I like her to score 20 points. And then on the flip side, what I'm going to take with this game is Kayla McBride has done very well versus Golden State as well. I'm going to take her to score 10 points. So Collier to score 20, McBride to score 10. She had 17 last game. You can get that number at -102, and that's a full unit play on that. So, So this Liberty game is pretty much what we thought was going to go 78-49. Cloud is actually still playing. I don't know if she's in now. She was in. Now she's not. They've went with basically just the backups. The Mercury have still basically went with most of their starters and second unit there. Bonner was just in, and Liberty are going to have to win here in Phoenix, and they'll have 2 more days off for Stewart to kind of get this together, but we'll see. That as well. We talked about we have the LAFC game. We'd like the LAFC to win this. Waiting to see the lineup. They've already actually scored early. Sun Mumung, Sun Heung-min has already scored. He's continually to score playing for LFC. It's something to continue to play as long as he's in the lineup. He's just better when he's played. He scored in 3 of the last 4 games for LAFC. Basically, the only game he didn't score in is the San Diego game and the very first game versus the Revolution. He played for South Korea. He scored. He's just scoring at will versus team and kind of giving him that old Carlos Vela type guaranteed guy to score every week. NYFC, if you tailed Gerardo, he did pull that off. It was 3-2. It was a back and forth game most of the night. Both teams score cashed easily. Moving on, I'm actually going to end the show because I'm in a lot. I need to take some pain medication. But thanks for Witty College Football to come on right here. Make sure you take some time, see him, go to his YouTube page, Witty, WITTY CFB. It's also his Twitter handle. You can get it as well. I'll let him say off. Is there any other game you wanted to talk about before we get out of here?
No, I think you're golden. I mean, I think we covered all the big games. Obviously, this is probably not as exciting as the past couple of weeks, but I think there's always going to be a couple upsets or two. But appreciate being generous for your time and having me on. All
right, appreciate it. Thanks, guys, coming on. All right, see everybody. Wish you best there. We're taking Collier 20 points, McBride 10 points, -102. Take to the house. Other than that, thanks everybody for joining.